Endless Hustle, presented by Doc Swinson's, the legendary whiskey blenders from Ferndale, Washington. I absolutely love Doc Swinson's, and if you haven't tried it, go to their website and check out their selection. All right, we've got a great day on the Endless Hustle, as I've got Neal McDonough. And you know, Neal, anytime I start these, I'll throw a little couple resume things here and there. But your resume is so freaking long, we'd be here till 2022. So congratulations, brand new movie, Apex. You get to work with Mr. Bruce Willis, the king of all action stars. Tell me all about the movie and tell me about Bruce.
It was a fantastic experience. You know, I've worked with Bruce before and Red 2, and you know, we really had a great time doing Apex. I think that, you know, the concept of Apex is such a fantastic, bizarre concept that here are these people who are hunters. They're bored hunting animals, so they pay a boatload of money to go to an island and hunt human beings. And for my character, who's the, you know, uber billionaire, you know, very smart type of guy, you know, he's the king of the hunters, and to go after the prey that he's wanted to go after for some time. In Bruce Willis, it's you know, mano a mano, nose to nose, head to head, going at it at the end. And you know, the last scenes are just, the build up to it is fantastic. Edward Drake, the director, did such a fantastic job telling the story and different characters. And you know, I look at all these other characters as absolute buffoons, because no one obviously is on the same level as my character Rainsford. So to tap into a character that's so egotistical and, you know, megalomaniacal and nuts as this guy is, and to try to make him just a nice guy next door while doing these, you know, horrid things. I've had a great career being able to build these kinds of characters, and they never get old. And I find something new and fresh in each of these villains that I get to tap into. And you know, and Corey Lars, the producer and you know, co-writer of it, you know, they allowed me to really get, you know, dig in and sink my teeth into this character. And I love doing it. Bruce is phenomenal. You know, what he does, what he brings to the screen always is energy and intensity, and that's me. And so when you get the two of us together, it really worked really well. So I'm very proud of this film. I think the audience is really going to like this film quite a bit, because it has everything you'd want in an action film, and it's just twisted.
I know. I was watching it last night, and it has like a Squid Games feel to it. And
yeah.
I was like, man, I just finished Squid Games and then jumping into this, and I'm like, fuck, society's doomed. Everybody's going to just be like killing each other by next year.
But one of my favorite scenes that I did in the film was one of my favorite scenes I've probably ever done as an actor. There's a big speech where I'm about to take down Trevor Gretzky, who's Wayne's son, right, who's this great guy. And so I have this 2-page monologue as to, you know, why you're not going to kill me. And here's why, because I would turn around and I would kill you before you. And the camera's right here in front of me. And I take Trevor and I throw him out of the chair. He's supposed to be dead on the floor. But instead, Trevor comes up while I'm acting. And he just comes up right next to the camera, and he's staring at me like, you know, courtside tickets to the Lakers type of thing. And as an actor, it was either one or two ways. It was either, kid, just get out of my eye line, or it's grab some popcorn, grab a Coke, relax. I'm going to bring you on a ride of pure fun acting. And I could just see Trevor just staring at me, and there's me just feeding off of that. And, you know, it's like live audience. And the scene came out so beautifully. It was one take, and it was this long monologue, and we crushed it. And Corey Large was there with the knife to my neck. And Corey's awesome, the producer and star, and, you know, one of the co-stars and writers. And it's just one of those really fun environments. And, you know, my wife Ravain and our 5 kids, we went to Victoria for, you know, a month almost, and had a great time. And our daughter London was in the film. So Apex to me will always be one of those films that I always look back and think, man, I had a great time doing that film, and with that cast, that crew, and everyone. It was really awesome.
No, I love it. I love these types of films, man. But again, society is doomed. The fact that now producers, this is what they're producing and what they're thinking about, I'm like, we've got major issues happening. Well, I will tell you, I recently rewatched, I don't know why, I think it was like on HBO. I just forgot how fucking great it was, Band of Brothers. And I realized that was probably my earliest memory of discovering you as an actor, because that series was just so freaking amazing. You got to walk me through the Band of Brothers experience. I mean, to see the magic that you guys came up with was incredible.
Well, it was the magic for me started the first day that I got into town doing Band of Brothers, because I literally bumped into who is now my wife, Reve. And I saw her the very first night on St. Patrick's Day, good day for an Irishman. I saw her and locked eyes with her and knew that this was going to be my wife and partner and best friend for the rest of my life. It was one of those moments that bang, it hit. And telling all my buddies, at Band of Brothers at the time, they're like, dude, you kidding me? You just got to London, you're here for a year, you want to sample the market? I'm like, yeah, I sampled the market and this is it, and that was it. So everything after that, especially for the last 20 years, has been gravy, because, I got to marry, the greatest lady on the planet. And then I got to act, opposite some of the greatest actors. And then look, in Band of Brothers, Stephen and Tom gave us, the keys to the kingdom, and we're all pretty much unknown guys. And they said, here you go swing for the fences. And we did. And because of Tom, this great speech that he gave us, how we owed it to everyone in Easy Company, and not just Easy Company, everyone in the war, everyone who gave their time, their effort, and their lives for our freedoms, why we owe it to them to work our tails off, to tell the truth as hard as we can, to work as hard as we can, and be the best that we can for them. And it was one of those humbling experiences to get to play Buck Compton, who was, an incredible human being. And if I think too much about Band of Brothers, I get choked up. And it was the greatest thing I've ever done in my life, to be Buck, to meet my wife Reve, to hang with these guys who are still my best pals. There'll never be anything like Band of Brothers, personally for me, but I think for the world to view again, to see these heroes back in World War II, what they did. A light infantry group was supposed to be there for a day or two, turned into 60 days of torture and hell, and how many of those guys we lost because of that. Is their bravery is something that I don't think people can watch enough on television, especially in a day where we take our freedoms and so many things for granted. These guys did it because, like Coach Belichick says, you got to do your job. When you do your job, great things happen. And these guys just did their job without looking for praise or thanks. And we all could take a slice out of that pie every day.
Yeah, it really blew me away. And I think it's, I guess, my age getting to me, but I probably saw it early 30s, maybe. I'm 43 now, and rewatching it, it impacted me in such a different way, much more emotionally. I guess as you get older, you just become so mushy that this type of shit just really hits you harder. But just to see the quality of it, and recently rewatched Saving Private Ryan again for the first time in a long time, and forgot how great that fucking movie is. And I was just
that opening 20 minutes. I remember sitting in the theater in Hyannis, Massachusetts, where I'm from. And I was by myself because I wanted to see the movie. And there was a guy and his wife sitting in front of me, and she just started sobbing, and he was free. And then I think they were literally gagging. They were going to throw up at all the blood and how horrible it was, because they went for it, and Steven nailed it. I mean, that opening sequence, guys coming on the beaches was. And then when we went there for the premiere of Band of Brothers, to see the beach and to walk on that sand, I just get goosebumps just thinking about how those kids coming out of those little U-boats, knowing that they were going to be eaten up by bullets, and the bravery just to get out and storm the beaches. It's phenomenal, isn't it? It really is.
No movie captures that moment better than Private Ryan. No movie. When you see the bodies floating under the water, the sound of the bullets, no movie has ever captured it that way.
That's the genius of Steven Spielberg. I mean, that's just, everyone talks about all of Steven's films that he's done. Private Ryan is a perfect movie. I mean, it's perfect. Jaws, to me, is perfect in a whole different way, but Saving Private Ryan, and I've been so blessed to work with Steven on, from Band of Brothers to Boomtown to Flags of Our Fathers to Public Morals. I'm missing something else in there.
Hey, anytime you can forget projects you worked with Spielberg on, you've had an okay time.
But it's funny. A couple movies ago, wasn't it? Like about a couple months ago, I'm in the makeup chair getting blood put on my face. I'm about to die, as I generally do in most of my movies. And the makeup artist says, like, you must have set some kind of record for most screen deaths. I'm like, what do you mean? She goes, how many deaths have you been? I'm like, I don't know, 25 probably, 30. She's like, no, I think you're way off. And that day we were celebrating my 53rd screen death. And it was pretty, and these are like little rinky dink ones. These are like big screen deaths. And it's, when I get to 100, hopefully someone will give me the gold Rolex, but until then, I'm going to keep working my butt off and go for 100.
So you've now mentioned Boston sports a couple times. Are you a Bruins fan? Do you like hockey?
In the name of the Father and the Son and Bobby Orr. That's what it was growing up in my family as a kid. I was such a hockey fan growing up in Hyannis, Massachusetts. My brothers, everywhere, all, if you didn't, you came out of the womb with skates on Cape Cod, so everyone played, and I had the honor to play with the Bruins alumni team probably 20 times. The last time, one of the best times was the Winter Classic. Reve was pregnant with our third. And everyone back home was like, Neal, you coming home for the Winter Classic? This is great. I'm like, no, I'm not, because Reve is going to give birth like a week later. What kind of husband would I be if I did that? My aunt's calling the Boston Globe saying Neal McDonough is going to be in town. He's going to be playing. I'm like, no, I'm not. And then literally the day before, my wife packed my hockey bag, packed my carry-on bag. No, it was literally like 5 o'clock that afternoon. Car's picking you up in a half an hour. You're going to go there tomorrow. You're going to score a goal. You're going to get back, fly back right after the game, get back here, be gone for 24 hours. I'm going to stay at a hotel. I'm going to relax and make sure nothing happens. And I went, I got a goal, I got an assist, and I got in a fight with Jay Miller at center ice. It was just awesome. It was unbelievable, with the snow falling lightly at Fenway Park. It was just, it was one of those just fantastic things. And again, I'm so blessed to have the life that I've had, and the movies that I get to be part of, like Apex, and now with American Horror Story, as Eisenhower just came out, and the Resident Evil coming out on Thanksgiving, and these movies that Reve and I produced that come out very soon with Cinedigm. I can't tell you how fortunate I am, Arthur.
What is your earliest Bruins memory? Obviously, you come out of the womb and you're a fan, but what is your earliest, most impactful memory?
Wow. It was losing to the Flyers in the Stanley Cup. I'll never forget that as a kid. It just crushed me. I think I was probably 6 or 7 at the time. And I hated the Flyers. I've hated the Flyers ever since. My manager and best friend out here, Matt Luber, is a diehard Flyers fan from Philadelphia. And I can't even talk to him about hockey because it just kills me. It's a scar that's haunted me ever since. In fact, in that one game, the Winter Classic, we played against the Flyers. And there's Dave Schultz, who was, arguably the toughest guy ever in hockey, the goon for the Broad Street Bullies. I'm coming down center ice with the puck, and I'm flying. And Dave Schultz was probably 70, 72 at the time, had this look on his face that he wasn't going to just eat me. He was going to eat my whole family. He just wanted to crush me. So I literally stopped center ice. I handed him the puck gently, and he went off. The crowd went nuts because I knew Dave Schultz was going to kill me. And that's what I love about hockey. It's, you can't take the spots off a leopard, and that's what those guys were. And to get to hang out with Brad Park and all the other guys, and Wayne Cashman and everyone else, it was and Bobby Orr and Derek Sanderson, everyone. It was, I've been a very fortunate guy.
Who's your all-time favorite Bruin?
Wow, that's a tough. Marchand is my favorite Bruin for the last 20 years. Ray Bourque, you can't. Ray was what he did for Boston, and then when he left, everyone was like, "Please go win a Stanley Cup with Colorado. You killed it here for 17 years, whatever it was. It's time to go." But deep in my heart, it's always Bobby. He was. I've never met an athlete who's such a class act as Bobby Orr is, and what he did for the city of Boston with his dynamic power that he had, and the way he played, and that, oh gosh, humble type of guy that he was. I don't think there'll ever be a Bobby Orr ever again. He changed the game in so many ways, but I love my Bruins.
You've gotten to work with everybody on the planet. Obviously, Hanks, Spielberg, now Willis with this one. Who's one person, if you were to kind of just say the apex, what is it?
Gene Hackman. That's it.
Dude, that's the best answer ever.
My two favorite performances were both by Gene Hackman. And number 3 was also by Gene Hackman. 3-4 is a close one. Hoosiers is right there, but Popeye Doyle is I think in French Connection the greatest screen performance ever, and whom I steal from more than any character was his rendition of Lex Luthor, obviously in Superman. That to play a villain who made, villains instead of that snidely whiplash villain, you rooted for Lex Luthor so much because you loved Lex Luthor, but then you realize, wait a minute, he wants Australia. What? Wait a minute, who is this guy? So the way that Hackman conducted himself as a human being, what I've heard about him, being that, tough as nails, Marine, all-American type of guy who loves his family more than anything. I love that about Gene Hackman. And I wish he would come out of retirement and do one more movie with me. That would make me the happiest guy, as an actor. I've already got everything. I've got the greatest wife on the planet. I've got 5 amazing kids. The only guy that I haven't worked with really that I've wanted to my whole life is Gene Hackman. By the way, you didn't mention the Unforgiven performance. I mean, that's the Unforgiven is but Unforgiven performance is as great as it was. It's a real villainous role. He's not entirely likable. Lex Luthor was the hero of Superman, and then there was that Superman guy. But the movie was all about Lex Luthor and that Mr. Luthor. It was so good. Ned Beatty. I mean, everybody. It was a great movie. Neal, this has been such a fantastic chat, man. Great stuff. Thank you so much. The new movie is called Apex. You and Bruce Willis. It's the Hunter version of Squid Games is the best way to describe it. I actually loved it. Coming off Squid Games, I was like totally digging this thing yesterday. So congratulations and thanks for a great chat, man. Thanks, Arthur. God bless. We'll see you. Be well. You then. Take care.